Here we are by Lake Edward in South Australia, and a cormorant has just caught something small and he's deciding whether he's scared of me or not. I bet he takes off any second. There you go, mate. We're about to walk all around Lake Edward, but this is the only time we get near the water, and that's because of this pontoon. And we can launch kayaks from here if we like. But as for the rest of the shore, it's all reedy and marshy and peaty. So let's commence our walk. Now, the local snake man was good enough to put a video on Facebook showing him releasing a tiger snake right here. I think it's hiding in the bushes. I think we're safe. And it's a bit chilly for them, 16 degrees centigrade, that is. So I've parked there, the only car in the place, which is never crowded because it's way off the beaten track for tourists, and even for locals it's 30 k's from town. So those of us who live nearby feel a bit exclusive about it, which doesn't stop the bureaucrats from making life difficult. We used to be able to drive up there, and there used to be huge pine trees, so you couldn't see the sky. And this is the walking track. Not much to say about this. It's Australian bush with imported blackberries, and without intervention they would take over. We're lucky in South Australia. We've had only moderate infection with the coronavirus, and in fact none at all on what we call the Limestone Coast, which is the southern tip of South Australia. More of those bloody awful blackberries, and no deaths at all down our way. A few infections, and most of those were related to the Ruby Princess, Sydney to Adelaide, and carrion infection. Lake glimpses all the way. We're not likely to see any wildlife. They'll know I'm coming long before I get to them. And from now on, this is slow television. Just coming along for the walk. Which I flatter myself might be just what some people need. If you're in an apartment several floors up and don't dare go outside, If the flu doesn't catch you, the coppers might. And here's the landscape reverting to its primitive state. None of these trees are terribly old. It was all cleared for farming. In more recent years we've let it grow back. Black wattles, bloody blasted blackberries, and gum trees, eucalypts, taking a good hold. Now we could take the low road, but I know that one. It's peaty and marshy, and it has been raining. So we'll take the high road, as recommended by the signs. Piss off, blackberries. Go back where you came from. Without a harsh winter, they just keep growing, choke everything. Gorgeous fruit, but high price to pay. This path has to be regularly mowed, or we'd be up to our backsides in bracken and blackberries. Looks like an eastern rosella, pair of, that I've disturbed. Quick, quick! And some welcome sunshine. We had quite a downpour a few hours ago. That's autumn at 38 degrees south. This looks like a plum tree, a relic of earlier settlement. Any signs of a house have completely disappeared into the bracken and the blackberries. wheel tracks. One of the lads has had his motorbike in here against the rules and against the spirit, but can't stop boys being boys. There's a relic of the old days and the uphill stretch. So we emerge from the scrub and up to the eucalypt plantation, all laid out in nice neat rows. And I think they may be worthless, or hardly worth harvesting. I'm told they have to be harvested at about 12 years of age before they start growing knotty branches and splitting into different trunks and things. I've been around this area 15 years and so have these trees. Sun and rain, just a few drops. As we get higher and further from Lake Edward. Hope I'm not getting a wet lens. I'm putting my hand over it. Lined up like soldiers. The track's kept clear for fire access and as a fire break and for the maintenance people. But we commoners can't bring our vehicles down here. It's a lovely lake to take a kayak or a canoe out on, and there's a bit of fishing, only small stuff of course, but you can't land anywhere because of the marshy shore. Still climbing, probably a 1 in 20 odd slope. Enough to get me breathing, that's for sure. There's a feral pine tree. It's probably 50 years old, planted by the birds in the eucalypt forest. tyre tracks again. Brum brum, not the spirit. We come in peace. Thank you, sign. I'm still on the right track. And a lovely aspect over our little Lake Edward. It's actually a volcanic crater filled with rainwater. We're at the southern edge of the Australian plate. The top edge is New Guinea and the Ring of Fire that goes all the way up to Japan. The southern edge, we get our own little crescent of old volcanoes, but not that old to Mother Nature. They say it's only a matter of when, not if, some of these blow up again. Water filters down through our limestone, which is ancient reefs, hits the hot magma, and boom, Grandma's pressure cooker blows its top and there's soup all over the ceiling. If you're old enough to relate to that little analogy. The trees are all lined up, awaiting their fate. Yes, brum brum tracks. Bit of piano wire across, perhaps. You'd be sitting around waiting a long time for him to turn up again. Paperwork would go on for ages. No respecting judge would put you away for it. This used to be my parking place. I could come across the top of the eucalypt plantation, park right here, which I preferred. Starting in clear air and downhill, and that's what we've done. We've crested the hill. Head down through this open, well-mown area, well-mowed, whichever vintage of English you like, towards the pine plantation. Here's next door's hay shed, water supply, windmill. We don't have any water supplies worries down here usually, but about 10 years ago there was a major drought and people were trucking water all over the place, buying big bottles of it. But mostly homes are run on rainwater and big tanks. Lots of rain. So if you think of South Australia as red and dry and stony, you're mostly right. But not down here at 38 degrees south. We're under the influence of the Southern Ocean. And the southwesters that blow up, as I'm sure you can hear. Full of ocean water in the form of precipitation. Now, we've got two paths, one down there, but I'm sticking to the sun for a couple of minutes longer because the air temperature is only about 16 degrees. Old one. Good firewood. And what used to be a road in, recently all carefully closed off because the place has gone from virtually deserted to being a bit of an attraction. Food there. I hope not rabbits. They came in with the blackberries. More well-maintained trail with native scrub to the left and a pine plantation to the right. Most of that gets turned into framing timber because we've had quite a housing boom with cheap money. Lots of people building their dream homes. And I think a lot of the rest goes into toilet paper. There's Muggins and his brum again. The toilet paper factory is only 20 minutes from here, producing shitloads of toilet paper, which did not stop people stockpiling. So near and yet so far. Lake Edward. moved in there. Perhaps just a branch falling. Touch wood, there are no wild pigs around this area, but there are flocks of deer, if flock's the word, herds of deer. And a few goats. And kangaroos in plague proportions. The kangaroos rode off my beaut little car a few years ago. 4 incidents at a time, jumping out in front of me. One of them actually, because I was going so slow to try and avoid collision, overtook my car and jumped in front. One headlight, one bumper bar gone. Eventually I just wrote the car off, and it was cheaper to buy another one. These trees are quite mature, so the loggers will be in here soon, and then it's a big shock because you think they're a permanent feature, and you come back and the field is bare. And then they plant it with seedlings or tube stock pine trees. And a year later, the field is full of Christmas trees. A couple of years after that, you can't see past them again. Now we're walking on peat. I've sunk up to my thighs in this stuff in the wrong conditions. Very embarrassing. We can branch off the perimeter track. Whoops, big branch fallen down, almost blocking this little boardwalk. Which is the other place you can get close, I say close, to the water. It's a bird hide from which the birds are usually hiding, in my experience. There's those reeds that guard the waterfront. And no birds. Here's the mob that did the work 14 years ago. And back to the track. We could sit there and admire the trees growing, but I'll spare be the static shot. When those leaves dry out, they're great for starting fires. I mean, in my fireplace. Hello. Same dropsy, blocking our path. I wonder if Mr. Brum Brum was able to jump it. We can with our nimble feet. See these spiky things, loving the moist ground here. Lots of common brown butterflies. I think we just picked up one flying close to the lens. And the car park comes in sight. And so we return to the car park. There's the road in. And there's my faithful Toyota waiting for me. A nice little spot to have all to oneself. So we'll do a busy pan. And I'll bid you adieu. Thank you for watching.